We'll take up where those left off.
Canada is a country that has understood from the very beginning how important trade is. We've always had more resources than our small population can use or handle, and we've always needed to be able to export our goods around the world. We have been extraordinarily fortunate to share the border with the United States, which means we have natural and always had natural connections with the American market, but we have also looked increasingly at engaging in the world. We just signed a historic free trade deal with the European Union, which certainly we're hoping is going to come into provisional application within a couple of months, which will have 99% of all tariff barriers disappear between our two countries, which would be good for our workers and our small businesses and large businesses, and good for our economies. But we're also very interested in trade with Asia. I think there is a lot of interest in the TPP and furthering sort of the momentum that we had, understanding the U.S.'s position right now, but also knowing that trade matters, and creating opportunities for new markets, creating opportunities for our small businesses and agricultural producers to sell into the growing middle class in Asia. I mean, we're talking about 300 million people, 400 million people in China alone who are joining the global middle class, who are very interested in lobsters from Nova Scotia or Maine, or cherries from Washington State or British Columbia. There are opportunities for us to engage with Asia, with China, or with the TPP countries that I'm very, very interested in. So we're open to engaging and discussing trade. I think the challenge that we face around trade is that, yes, as a succession of policymakers and governments have promised, trade has led to growth over the past decades. That's true. The problem, however, is trade has never been a guarantee that that growth would be fairly distributed amongst citizens. And the challenge we have now as governments responding to citizens who've said, you know what, maybe it hasn't worked out for us the way you promised it, and the wealthiest and the big countries seem to do well with the big companies seem to do well with trade, but the rest of us aren't really seeing the benefits. It becomes really, really important that as we look at newer trade deals, at signing trade deals, at improving deals like NAFTA, we think right up front about how to make sure that the benefits of the growth that will come from trade, inevitably, accrue to more of our population. And you combine that concern with trade with the reality of automation and AI, we realize that the workplaces are changing. We need to be investing in education and skills training, in creating confidence amongst our citizens that we are building for their future and not just a short-term bottom line. And that's the challenge of leadership that we all face right now, which is both demonstrating the concrete benefits of policies, plans, including trades, but also selling it, reassuring people, showing that we can build and solve these challenges together as we have in the past, as opposed to giving in to fear or anxiety or anger. And that's always the challenge of leadership. People might be worried, might be anxious, concerned about the future. How do we take that energy and push it forward into policies that are actually going to help our citizens, help our companies, help our economies? And that's where, whether it's the TPP, whether it's trade deals around the world, or whether it's just this extraordinary relationship between Canada and the United States, this is where our energies and our efforts must lie, in demonstrating and focusing on the benefits for all of our citizens.
Ladies and gentlemen, please again join me in thanking the Prime Minister for being with us today.